I need you guys to first know what it takes to be a good designer. So a good designer is that person who is ready to learn. All right. And I look at every one of you here as that good designer because for you to be a good creative person, you have to have the habit of learning. So I'm going to be sharing some other things with you, but I don't want to skip. All right. So before we get to the being knowing how to come up with good design, I need you guys to first know what makes a good design successful. All right. So first, a good design should grab attention. So whenever you're working on design project, have it in mind that okay, I need to create something that will draw people's attention. And then the other thing that you need to know is you need to understand that good design controls the hype movement. So whenever you're working on a design project, you need to have this in mind that you have to create what I call sequence. Sequence in the sense that you have to be able to let people know that okay, this is the first thing I want people to see. Then after this first thing, the second thing comes in, then the third to the last. In fact, this eye movement thing is what makes design look interesting. But when we don't allow this in our design project, it always make design look boring. So we need to watch out for that. All right. Then the other thing again that you need to watch out for where coming up with successful design is concerned is your design must tell a story. There must be a message. There must be a reason why you are working on the design project. All right. So I'm going to be sharing the things that you're supposed to put together to be able to tell the right story when you are working on design project. Okay. And then there should be a feeling. All right. There's this feeling, this feel that your design should have that when people see it, they understand the message even before, they read the information on it. So I'm also going to be sharing some tips with you where, being able to achieve this. And for those of you that don't know this about door design, because I know most time when we're asked to work on design project, part of what always make us come up with design that is not successful is we find it difficult to identify dull designs. So how do you know when a design is dull? And how do you know when the design is not successful? The first thing is it always look dull. All right, dull where color is concerned, the lack of the eye movements. Those are the things that make design dull. And then another thing again is always confusing. Confusing in the sense that when the project have too many contrasts. I know some of us don't know this. When your design have too many contrasts, it always make design look dull. And what the things that always make most time design look have too many contrasts is when we use too many high contrast color combination on our design project. And I know some of us always think, okay, after getting an image to draw attention to my piece, I think I've gotten contrast there. No, aside from the fact that you are using an image to draw attention to your piece, another thing that we always ignore that is also important where our design is concerned is the use of color. And then another one is the use of font. So when we don't, when we make all these things, we make them too heavy, too shouting on our design, it always make it look confusing because the eye won't be able to know, okay, this is what I should look first. Okay, this is what is trying to tell me the message behind this design. And another thing again is always too busy. Now, the confusion part is not knowing the right story. All right, when we don't get the right story for the design project, and then the too busy part is when too many things are calling for attention at the same time. All right. So now this will now take me to the design composition, which is what always help with knowing how to come up with good designs. Now, I've seen so many designers go to computer school or design school, and then they come back and say, "Hey, Caesar, um, after leaving my design school, I still find it difficult to come up with good design." The reason why you always find yourself in that trap or that shoe is when you don't understand the composition part of design. All right. So the important thing, like one of the important thing where being able to come up with good design composition is when you understand the brief. So I'm going to share my screen with you now so you guys will get how I normally play with my brief. All right. So so I have design composition here. Okay. Uh, so this brief that I'm about to share with you here now are the things that you should. I'm hearing myself. All right. So whenever you're working on design project and you want to like send request like the brief, you want to understand the brief behind any design project, please, what I'm about to share with you now are things you're supposed to send to your clients that they will feel like you should design it in a form look that by the time they feel it, you are going to use it is what now going to use to build the image that will display what the design is talking about. And before I, share all these things with you, I need you guys to know that there's a reason, there's a purpose for every design. And that purpose is what build the look of the design. I need you to write that down. There's a reason, there's a purpose for every design project. That purpose is what built the form and the look of the design. All right. So on my first list here, I have the background. All right. So under the background is where you get the brief, which is the dates, the time, the title, um, the title, and then the purpose, the reason why the design exists. So by the time you send this to the client, they immediately understand what you are trying to ask them. And if they don't, you have to now be the one to explain it to them that, okay, the background simply means what exactly is the message? What is the purpose of the design? Then you hear them start saying different things about the um, why they want to have the design. All right. And then on my next slide here, I have where to use. Now, where to use is where are they planning to use the design? Is this something that they are planning to print? Is this something that is going to be on social media, or is something that will be on a banner? So if they tell you this is something that I'm going to use on social media, then you know that every of your type should be bigger because it's always good to display bigger type on social media design. Don't make your type too tiny. All right, please avoid making it too tiny. So here is where you now know, okay, am I going to make the image bigger or small? Because if it's going to be on a billboard, your image should be bigger so that people can see it from afar. Now you see now that this alone is already giving us the look, the result of what the design should look like. So where to use tells you how to play with size. All right. And this will now take me to my third on the list here that says the user. Now, who are the target audience? Are they old people? Are they young people? If you are designing for for young people, excuse me, you should know that the way you play with color and your type is very important. All right. You should know that your type, the way you play with type is important here. But if you are dealing with adults, there are type of fonts that you're supposed to use because when you use the font you're using for youth poster on adult poster, the adult will look at you like you are not a serious person because youths they like something that will entertain them. They like when they see something that will draw their attention to the piece. And how we do this is by playing with pattern, playing with type, playing with colors. But when it comes to adults, we have less um, um, playful elements. We don't really play with element that much because adults believe that okay, everything I'm going to do should be professional. It has to look mature. And how we do this as designers is by limiting the way we play with elements on our design project. All right. And then the last question you now need to add your client is what are the things I'm to avoid? so many of us don't ask clients this question, and that's why by the time we're done with coming up with good designs for them, you hear them say, I'm not feeling it. And when you ask them, why are you not feeling it, they tell you, I'm not sure what exactly, I'm not just liking the design. Most time the reason why they always say that is because we don't there are some things they don't like that we've added to the design. In fact, the important one that most clients always avoid, that they don't like, is the color. And that's why whenever you're working on design project, you need to understand, you need to know the people you're working for. You don't use color because you don't use color on your project because you like the color. You use the color on your project because your client or your target audience like the color. All right. So you need to first ask, are there colors? Are there, because at times when I ask my client this question, that are there things that you want me to avoid? Some of them always go, I'm not sure, or what exactly do you think I may have issue with on the design? The first thing I ask them is, are there colors you don't like? At times, some of them will say, no, I'm free. I'm free with any color. And some will say, yes, 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 yes. I don't like seeing yellow on my design. I don't like seeing green. Some will say, I don't like seeing pink. All right. So you need to ask them this question. You need to know what are the things they don't like. Some don't even like to see pictures of people on their design. They prefer to see their own pictures. So when we don't ask these questions, they it's that at times they reject our design. So you need to make sure that you know who you're working for and you give them what they want. All right. And I'm going to say this again, please, guys. These four things I listed here are things that I'm going to advise you that after this training, um, design them, make them, put them in a maybe in a Word document. All right. So whatever a client asks you to work on design projects, please send this to them. Whenever they ask you to work on design projects, send this to them. Let them fill this form. Trust me, by the time they are done filling this form, you will see how fast and easy you are going to come up with design project for them. Then the other thing I'm going to tell you after receiving all this brief from them is research. All right. Now, the research part is another challenge that we creative always find difficult, which is okay. So how am I supposed to now know how to now, put things together that would make me pass the right message that the clients will approve. All right. Now, there's nothing new under the sun. All right, because I know so many of we designers always think, okay, so after receiving the brief, then I should be able to just quickly come up with design myself. See, guys, yes, there are times you don't even need to do research. Like you don't even need to go and start checking out designs. That's the English. You don't need to go and start checking out designs online before you get the concept for the design for the project that you're working on. But there are times that you need to do that so as to wake up that creativity spirit inside of you. All right. Now, I would have loved to share so many tips with you guys here where, the research is concerned. But I'm happy for you that I already have a tutorial online that you can watch, that I believe that it will help you, find it easy to come up with good design concepts easily after digesting the brief that you receive from the client. All right. Now, okay. So now that I've shared the how to get concept online with you, please, guys, if you have not watched that video, go and watch it. I believe that after watching it, you're going to pray for me because it's something I do and it has been helping me. All right, so I advise you go check that tutorial out after this training. Okay, so the next thing I need you guys to always put in your design project is what I call depth. All right. Um, Depth is what always make good design look successful. When you allow depth in your design. I know some of you don't really understand the word depth here. Now, depth in the sense that whenever you are placing elements on your design projects, try as much as possible to make it come in the way things appear in real life. When we do this on our design project, it always give the design this mature look. I know some of you have never heard this before, but trust me, if you start adding this to your design project, it's going to, in fact, it will save you the stress of you, getting response from client that I'm not feeling the design. And that's why whenever I'm working on design projects, what I do most time is I don't just place elements without not making it look like the way things appear in real life. Like for example, if I'm trying to place elements on a landscape background, all right, I don't apply shadow. And the reason why I don't do that is because I try as much as I try to make it look in front of the way things appear in real life, which is the way we have let me use the word 3D, or let's say perspective, where the bigger things are closer to you and then things that are smaller are far from you. I know so many designers always make this mistake of whenever they have landscape image or landscape background, they apply shadow on it. No, you don't do that. The only time you do that is maybe if you add something like a cloth effect on that landscape background. So it will now serve as maybe the landscape image is printed on a cloth. Then you can now apply shadow to any elements that you are placing on that background. But if it's just a normal landscape background, don't apply shadow, please. Don't apply shadow, because most time when we do this, it always affect the look of our design. And that's why when you check out movie posters, most time you realize that they don't apply shadow to the title of their movie, because most time movie posters always come in form of landscape. And the reason why they don't do that is because they understand that whenever they are placing elements on their design project, there should be unity, there should be depth. So when they apply shadow to it, it will affect the unity on the design. All right, so you need to avoid that. Another thing is, wherever you are placing elements on your design, where maybe there's a food on a plate and you are asked to use that plate on your design project. I've seen so many designers not adding shadow to that plate. When you don't do that, the message you are trying to pass is the food is floating. Yes, there are times you can do that if the message on the design is saying something about food floating. But if the message on the design is not talking about food floating, I don't see no reason why you're not supposed to apply shadow to that image. Then another example again, or still on the shadow part, is I've seen designers placing shadow under pictures the wrong way. There was a time I saw this design from from a designer where we have two characters on the design, and then the shadow on the first character is facing east, then the other person's shadow is facing west. You don't do that. If you are placing two characters on your design, their shadow should face the same direction. These are simple things that always affect the success of our design. So depth is very, very key where design is concerned. All right, depth is very, very key where design is concerned. And before I get to the tutorials that will help you with knowing how to play with depth, I need to also share this with you guys, that there are basic tips, there are basic things you're supposed to know before working on design projects. All right, now I've shared the brief with you, and then the other thing is the way you arrange the elements on your design. Arrangements on your design is also part of the important thing you need to know where coming up with successful design is concerned. All right, aside from the arrangement, there's also the principle where we have the contrast, the hierarchy, the proximity, and so on. I won't be able to go into depth now on that, but I'm going to share some of the tutorials where I've mentioned all these things. to you. And the reason why I'm sharing all these things with you here is, I've gotten so many questions from designers, and I realized that the key parts, I mean, the most asked question I get from designer is, I find it difficult to come up with good design. And the reason, and that's what inspired what we're doing today. I don't want to continue hearing the same thing. And that's why I'm showing you guys what I'm teaching you today. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys now, and you guys will see what I'm talking about how you are supposed to. On this platform here, we always have our weekly design review where I share design tips with designers, and I've been getting so many testimonials from people how this training has changed their life. All right, so but I'm not going to go into depth now on that, but I'm only going to share this with you. So if you go to my channel, I have a series where I share tips on how to come up with successful designs, things you need to avoid where coming up with good design is concerned. So if you watch this video, trust me, I'm sure you are going to learn some things. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys this again now is I want you guys to, as you're watching this, please connect it to the design brief that I mentioned earlier. All right, so by the time you start watching this, the more you watch it, the more you learn new things. Okay. And then another thing that you also need to learn or to know how to use correctly is the use of color. Color is part of, in fact, is what we use to create what I call emotion in our design project. And that's why, like I said previously, that you need to know who you're working for. You need to understand their belief on color. This is going to save you the stress of wasting your time and money on working for clients. Aside from the fact that you are going to use this on maybe poster design or flyer design, when it comes to logo design, using the right combination of color is another way of making your logo design look beautiful. So in this tutorial, I share tips on how um, great designers, combine colors, how they stylishly mix color together in their design project that made the design look successful. There are so many designs that you all see online today that you don't know that the reason why that design looks successful to you is because of the way the designer mixed color. Some of you may think, oh man, I like the image here. This design looks calm. It makes me want to have it. The reason why the design is successful to you, part of the reason is the use of color. So watch this tutorial and it will bless you. Then another tutorial here on how to pick color from your character. Now, I know so many designers don't know that the color on the outfit of your character is also part of the color on your project. We think, well, man, since I have to work on this project, let me just pick colors that I saw from somebody else's design and add it to my project. By the time you do this most time, you find out that that design is still not looking successful. In fact, it's still not looking interesting like the design that you copied the concept from the other designer. Now, the reason why it's always like that is because we always forget that the color on the outfit of our character is also part of the color on our project. And on this, my thought design on color, there are times that the color on the outfit the color on the outfit on your character is also the color that in fact, the color on the outfit of your character alone is enough for you to know the right color to use on your project. And in this tutorial, I explain how to achieve that. Then we now get to the surprise. Now, the reason why most companies or most organizations would trust you is when they see that you are good at surprising them. All right. If you are the type of designer who knows how to come up with good designs easily, trust me, you are going to work for one of the biggest organizations and they will pay you good. They will pay you good. All right. So knowing how to surprise your audience or your client is also important where graphic design is concerned. And I have here tutorials that I've I did in the past where knowing how to surprise your audience. Now the first one is type. Type is one very powerful tool that most designers don't know, that when you use it well, it makes your design look mature. It makes it look interesting. Type is another way you can surprise your audience where graphic design is concerned. So many people are used to images, but when you use type, you are creating another picture of what they don't see coming. And when you do this well, it will open more doors of clients, more doors of clients for you. So see type as pictures of words, not just text. Use type the way you use images on your design project. Now, the reason why I share this with you is not that I'm not saying you should now settle down on these concepts on your design project. No, that's not what I'm saying. I decided to share this with you so as to activate that creativity inside of you on knowing how to watch tutorials that is related to playing with type. So whenever you're working on design projects, make sure that on your options, let the playing of type be part of the options you're going to send to your client. All right. But it's as soon as you receive the brief, as soon as you digest you've digest the brief, draw out your ideas. Check if type 2 is part of how you can create something interesting. Because let me tell you, um, today's audience want to be entertained. They want to see something they are not used to. And anytime I'm working on design projects, this principle is what I always hold on to. And that's why I have more designers as my follower on Instagram than clients. Actually, the goal was to get clients to follow me, but anyway, I don't know how God did it. I have more designers than clients, but I believe you all get the idea. So surprising your client is very, very important, and that's where this comes in. And then another thing again, I always use to surprise my client is playing with image. If I receive the brief and I know there's an illustration I'm supposed to use to depict what the message is talking about, I don't use the image the way I receive it. Like, okay, now for example, maybe you're asked to work on a design that talks about like hell, like donation. All right, or let's say savings. I know so many people are used to using piggy banks. They're used to using saves and so on. Excuse me. I'm not saying you should now stop using that save. If the using of the save is the only image or only illustration you have in you or in your head, don't use the image the way it is. See how you can play with it in such a way that it will look abstract. Making your image look abstract is another way you can surprise your audience. All right. Now, I'm not now saying you should always do this all the time. If you have if you have clients that you do designs for, if you do 2, 3 designs for them and then you use the image the way you receive it, all right. If you are going to work on the fourth design, see how you can play with the image. This simple move alone can make your clients look at you like a very strong creative person, like a very big creative person. All right. So, guys, see, anytime you watch what's it called, tutorials on photo manipulation online, don't just copy the concepts or repeat the tutorial. See how you can steal from that photo manipulation and add it to your design project. Those things are what you can use. They are tools. In fact, the way graphic design is today is different from the way it was when I started design. That we always finding it difficult to come up with good design concepts that will look interesting. But now we have Instagram, we have Pinterest, we have Dribble, we have Behance, where you can just go to see concept and then use it to surprise the audience. And another powerful site is YouTube. You can go to YouTube now and just watch any tutorial on image photo manipulation that looks interesting, then add it to your project. But make sure that if you're doing this, um, you are trying to tell a story. Make sure you're doing this is not going outside of the message behind the project. All right. So then the next thing I want to share with you guys here is, I've heard so many designers say, how do I get clients? Like, how am I going to, make money as a designer? You see, graphic design is not different from every other business, every other occupation. Because I've heard so many designers say, I'm not sure I'll be able to continue with this business because it's as if it's difficult. You know, people are always complaining about what I do. They always act like they don't feel the time I spent on design projects. See, there's no good business that does not take energy. All right. And as creatives, all right, we our own side of becoming um, 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 rich in this business is when we are ready to show love to the business. In fact, that's how you find any business that you find yourself in. You need to show love to the business. But for the graphic design part, part of how you can show love to this business is when you put on the amateur spirit, amateur gown, which is you always look at yourself like somebody who is not there yet. There yet in the sense that you have to keep training yourself. You have to, know what is trending. You have to um, learn to, do research. All right, because trust me, if I don't do research, all the things I'm sharing with you today, I'm not going to be able to do them. All right. And, I've worked for so many organizations that today, um, you know, even as they still have in-house designers working for them, they still come back to, whenever they have big project that they want to work on, they still contact me and ask me to, work on the project for them. And the reason why, they trust what I do is because there's a place I've positioned myself, which is I try as much as possible not to always make them know what is coming. Knowing what is coming in the sense that I always surprise them. I, know that okay, whenever I'm working on any design project, there's a message. All right, there's a purpose why I'm asked to work on the design project, and that purpose is what I always apply to my project. And this principle also apply on how you present yourself, the way, because we designers, the way people look at us is not how we dress. Our outfit is not what people will, people used to check to see if we are good designers. No, the way we talk is not how people normally used to know if we are good designers. All right. Our look, our fine face is not what people normally used to judge if we are good designers. What people normally used to know if we are good designers is what we always come up with. All right. So if you want to be found as a designer, if you want to get clients, you have to be a good designer. And what are the things that makes you a good designer is when you understand graphic design. The two things I need you to learn where graphic design is concerned, that's by the time you learn them and understand them, it will help you with knowing how to combine elements together when working on design projects. Number one is you have to understand the principle of design. All right. Then number two is understand the elements of design. All these things are like the way you see a mechanic use a mechanic can never fix a car without using his all these what's it called, all these his tools. A doctor cannot check your heartbeat without his I always forget what they call that stuff. Is it stethoscope they call it? So that's how our own tool as designer is those two things, the elements and then the principles. So by the time you understand all these things, when you're working on design projects, coming up with good design is going to be easier for you. Now I've shared some of the things that you need to put together, but those things cannot work when you don't add all these things to it. So if that I'm still going to ask, so that I'm going to ask you to go back and watch those design review videos because I mentioned some of those things on those tutorial. Please, guys, I've mentioned this before. Um, you have to put on your amateur spirit. If knowing how to use the application is not what makes you a good designer, but being able to tell story with the brief that you receive from your clients is what makes you a good designer. And that's why you see a designer who only know how to use 3 or 4 tools to on a particular application and still be given the award of a professional graphic person than somebody who knows all the shortcuts. So please, your knowing how to use the tool is not what makes you a your knowing how to use the application, sorry, is not what makes you a good designer, but being able to tell story with um, the brief that you receive is what makes you a good designer. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my slide again now, and then I'll share with you the things you need to know where getting client is concerned. Okay, so I put it here that you don't find clients, they find you because I've seen designers place adverts online that call us for your logo design, call us for your flyer design, and so on. See, yes, most time when we do those adverts, some clients go the extra mile of checking our page on social media. The reason why most of those clients don't call us is because they've noticed that what we posted, like all the designs on our page, are not strong enough for them to trust us. I mentioned previously that our outfit, our look, our hairstyle is not what companies check or clients check to know if we are truly a good designer. What they check is what we done our past designs, and that's why when you go to apply for a job, you are asked to send your portfolio. That portfolio is you. That portfolio is, in fact, you're going there is not for them to know that you're a designer. You're going there is just for them to know that okay, this person exists. All right, that's why you're going. You're going. That's the meaning of you're going there. Your true self is your portfolio, because most company, like what I always say to the creatives, that most organization always want somebody who excuse me, who had already solved his own problem. They don't want somebody who will come and add to their own problem. And that's why when they check your portfolio, they try to see, okay, let's see if this guy or this lady had already solved his own problem. So when they see that your portfolio is not looking the way they want it, it's not really giving them that picture of what they want, they ignore you. All right. So then on my first list here, I have you have to be a good designer. I've mentioned that. All right. You have to know what you're doing as a creative. And then number two here is social media. Now, I've seen so many people use social media the wrong way. I've seen so many designers post both designs and their picture on their social media account. If you want to have in fact, I would advise that you have 2 social media accounts if you are the type who wants people to see your face online. Have an account for your designs, then have a personal account where you post your image or your pictures. Don't post both your pictures and your designs together. When you post your pictures and your designs together, there's this look that it gives your page. If most of you don't know, your social media account is your portfolio. In fact, I'll repeat it again. As creatives, our social media account is our portfolio. And that's why most people today, in fact, most designers, you find out that, and I'm sure some of you have experienced it before, where somebody will say, I saw some of your designs and I decided to contact you. All right. The reason why they contacted you is because the client saw what he or she know that by the time he or she gives you the project similar to it for you to work on, you'll be able to do something good for him or her. All right. So your social media account should serve as your portfolio, not your picture gallery. I've seen designer post pictures of the food that they eat, or the food they are about, maybe the food they've ate or they are planning to eat on their social media accounts. Please don't do that. All right. Simple things like this are what always make clients not to contact you, because most clients want somebody who is ready to work, not somebody who will play. So your social media account should serve as your portfolio. And another thing I'm going to say about the social media part is, don't be a post prostitute. When I say post prostitute, this is what I'm saying. Don't be that type of person where today you post design, tomorrow you post product from someone, maybe a client who is asking you to come up with design for him or her, and then you now put the picture, and then later you now post the design. No, don't do that. All right, it's not good. And another thing I want you to avoid again is have one particular design that you post most on your page. If you are good at logo design, post more of logo design on your social media page. Now, I'm not now saying you should not post any other thing on your page, but what I'm saying is, if you post 3 logo design today, or maybe 3 logo design, then have maybe a flyer design next to it. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is this. There's this feel, there's this look that this always give our social media account, which is, like I said, that clients always want somebody who is good, somebody who already solved his own problem. Let's paint that picture of letting them know that I'm good at this. In fact, most clients, when they see that you post one particular type of designs on your page, and they see that those designs are unique, like they look professional, they won't even bother to ask if you are good in other areas. What they will ask you is, do you do this? Do you do that? They won't say, are you good at doing this? Because you've painted that picture of I'm a good designer to them. So have a particular design, maybe logo design. Like if you are the type who is good at doing logo design, post more of logo design on your page, and then later be posting little of other stuff that you do aside logo design. Now, if you post those, the reason why you're posting those other design is to let them understand that, see, I'm not only a logo designer, I'm also into this type of project. But when you post too many different type of designs on your page, it always gives this what's it called? This confusion look on your design project. I mean, on your portfolio, excuse me. All right. So please, I need you guys to work on that. And another thing I also want you, guys to work on where posting your design is concerned is avoid putting your designs on mockup. I've seen so many designers post flyers on their social media accounts and then they put it on mockup. No, the reason why you do mockup, let me tell you, for those of you that don't know, the reason why we do mockup is to let people see how the job is going to look like when it's printed. All right. And we do this when we are trying to send designs to clients, not when you are trying to put it on your social media account. Yes, there are other type of mock-up that you can do also, which is, for example, if you design a logo, you can do mock-up of the logo on a complimentary card. But if you are going to put the logo on a complimentary card, do it in such a way that you let them understand that the focus is the logo, which is blur any other thing that is around that complimentary card and make the focus be on the logo. You see, the use of elements that are not useful on your mock-up at times always affect the beauty of whatever you post on your social media account. All right, so avoid debris, avoid things that are not adding to your posts on social media. So also avoid the use of putting your flyer design on mockup. Please don't do that. All right. If you are, if let's okay, if you even want to do that, another way you can do this is put the flyer without mockup, and then like the way we do on Instagram, which is we have the the opportunity to post more than one slide on our post. So maybe on the next slide you can now show, okay, this is where this flyer will be used. Maybe it's a poster that will be pasted on a wall. All right, then you can now do a mock-up of how it looks on the wall. So this is another way of making whoever is taking your project know that yes, you know what you are doing. All right, and this will now take me to the third point here that says post more of the type of work you like to do. I've mentioned this before, that the way you present yourself is how people see you. All right, if you are the type that you want your clients to know that, okay, you like doing simplicity design, please post more of simple designs online. All right, if you want your client to know that, okay, I enjoy working for old people, then load your page with designs with not too plain background. Okay, so the way you present yourself, the way you put yourself out there is how people see you. Another tip I would like to share with you guys where putting yourself out there is this: if you want to show yourself, as you want whoever is going to contact you to know you're a freelance designer, excuse me, you're a freelance designer, don't post designs from one source. I've seen so many designers make this mistake of just posting design from one of their clients. No, don't do that. If you want them to look at you like somebody who doesn't work under anybody, post designs from different sources. Like, put different logos of people that you work for on your post. This alone will quickly let them know that, okay, this person is a freelance designer. Then another thing I'm going to add to this again is, whenever you post anything on your social media account, don't just post it and leave it there. No, we are storytellers. All right. And aside from the fact that we use still image to do this, our description is also part of how we let people know that we understand what we are doing. So when you post designs online, I've seen so many designers make that mistake, that when they post design, they'll just put flyer design, full stop, and then they use hashtag. No, don't do that. When you post design, say what exactly is behind that design. And that's where the advantage of the background that you send to the client comes in. So if you already have the background from the client, you don't even need to start typing the message behind the design anymore, because I know so many of us are not really good at composing all this description and so on. So the brief that you receive from the client is what you are going to copy and paste on the description section of the post, and then say the reason why you use the color, or maybe the reason why you use the illustration. You don't even need to say too much, but let people know that you know what you are doing. I'm telling you, these little tips I'm sharing with you guys here have, it has opened doors of great organization for me. So these are simple things that, if you don't do them, getting clients online may be difficult. I've heard so many designers say this. I'm always having issue getting clients on. Nobody wants to give job to somebody they don't trust. All right. So then this will now take me to my last point on how to be found here, which is, don't be idle. Um your not being idle should be like the way uh bosses do. See, if you're in this business of design, all right, you're also you're also a boss. Excuse me. All right, you're also a boss, and you have to start thinking like the way bosses think. If you go to most organizations today, in fact, let me say most of the top people that we celebrate today who are making it big in their business, if you sit with these people, you will realize that these people are very good at strategizing. They spend most of their time planning, coming up with things that would get them at the top of their game. What will make them be ahead of their competitors? The same way they think is how we designers also should always think. Uh, so many of you, I know some of you are following me on Instagram, and you've noticed that I post designs, I post all those stuff on my page. What I'm trying to do there is not to flash or to make people feel look at me like, this guy is good. No, I'm setting a trap for clients who are going to give me good pay, and that's why you see me post those things there. All right, and that's the first thing. And another thing, the reason why you see me do those posts is um I'm planning to launch my academy, and I need you guys to trust me. And part of how I can do this is to always put things up for you guys to know that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. So the reason why I'm saying this now is for you guys now to start thinking like a boss. Don't be a lazy designer. Don't settle down on salary that you are getting from one organization that you are working for. Please don't do that. Start as from today planning on what you'll be putting up on your social media account. I'm telling you, social media now is, in fact, it's growing every day. And if your work is not on that social media, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to get new clients. So you have to start strategizing. Okay, so what am I going to put up today? All right. I need to let people know that, okay, I'm good at solving problem for them where branding is concerned. I know how to do package design. I know how to come up with ideas that will help their market be ahead of their competitors. And how you do this is you have to, come up with designs that will say all these things, and then you post it on your page. There was a time I got a call from, in fact, I still work for the lady anyway. I got a call from someone in the United States, and she said she used hashtag graphic design, and when she was scrolling the designs on the hashtag, if I didn't even know that clients also use that hashtag to search for designers, and when she was scrolling, she saw one of my design, and before she picked my design, she had already checked other designers posts. But when she got to my page, she said immediately she got to my page, she saw what she wanted. And the reason why she decided to contact me based on what she told me was that she realized that every of my posts always have reasons why they exist. Even the ones that I didn't do for clients that I'm trying to use to help designers, I put a description, I put the reason why the post is there. So clients want people that they can trust. So anytime you're trying to come up with design projects and you want, you want to post the design on your social media account, please have a story for it. All right. And another thing I need you guys to do again is please form the habit of learning. I'm telling you, as I'm talking to you here now, tomorrow I'm still going to, as soon as I'm done with client work, I'm going to start reading my design books, and then start doing research online on what is trending, how to come up with designs that tell good story. I already know those things, but I like hearing from different people. And the more I do that, the more it opens me up to knowing what to do whenever I receive design, brief from clients. So please, guys, try not to be idle. All right. Then I'm going to go straight to my next slide, which is the church poster tutorial. So last year, I know some of you here joined my church poster tutorial, and I'm sure that, in fact, I've been getting response from some of the people that joined the training, and that's blessed them. So if you really want to get more depth into most of the things that I shared here, I would advise you get this church poster tutorial. Now, this is only for church poster, right? This is only for people who want to understand how to come up with church poster. And I'm sure if I give room for some of the people that join this training, I'm sure they will tell you that this training really helped them. So it's available now, because I know so many people have been asking me. So it's available now. If you want to get it, just let me know. So I have here list of the things that you are going to learn from it. So I have the storytelling design. I have different type of church flyers that used, because we have different type of church flyers. All right, for those of you that don't know, we have different type of church flyers, so you need to understand those things. Okay, so I also have how to use background, and I mentioned that previously, that the way you use background also is important. So I went into depth on how to use background in this tutorial, and then how to use fonts. Very important. So many designers always find it difficult to use font, and also how to pair font. So I explain how to use font here, and knowing the right font to use for your project. And then I also explain how to come up with good design layouts, and how to combine colors, and then that's it. So then I'm also working on another training which is going to come up very soon. It's called the how to design flyers. I know so many people are still finding it difficult to come up with flyer design. So I'm going to be sharing with you, even if you're going to copy designs online, the things you need to check before copying those designs. I'm going to be sharing with you on this training. Okay. I'm not really good at what I'm about to do now, but I'm asked to do it. All right. So some of you have been asking to see how you can support Caesar Graphics. So supporting me is also, yes, it's important, because there are some things I would love to do to help creatives, which I can't do based on finance. All right. So for those of you who are looking forward to support Caesar Graphics, this is the account details to send your funds to, for those of you that care to support. It is not compulsory, guys, and it will stop me from helping you guys, even if you do not give. Okay. So, and I appreciate those of you who have been giving. So for those of you who still care to give, this is the account number to send your funds.